Jake here, Titleist AP2 versus the T100. This is, hands down, one of those incredibly frustrating choices where the answer absolutely is not as simple as just throwing your wallet at the newer model. The AP2, it's a total legend for mid to low handicappers, and the T100 is its modern, super sleek successor. But look, if you're pulling out your credit card today, should you hunt down a classic set of AP2s or pay a massive premium for the T100? Well, before you pick a side, there's one category where the older AP2 is going to seriously surprise you.
I'm Mike, and welcome back to Golf Gear Showdown, where we put golf gear head-to-head to help you pick the right winner for your game. Now, golfers compare these two irons constantly, right? The AP2 built this massive reputation for giving guys a forged feel, a totally clean look, and just enough help to actually make it playable. Then Titleist launched the T-Series, and the T100 basically became its spiritual successor. You know the scenario. You walk into a shop, you see a used AP2 looking like an absolute bargain, and sitting right next to it is the shiny, refined T100. Marketing hype tells you newer is always better, but the reality of a bad shop fit, yeah, that tells a totally different story. Pick an iron that's too demanding, and your confidence is just gone.
So, to settle this properly, we're running them through 6 brutal rounds. We're looking at distance, forgiveness, accuracy, feel, price, and finally, exact golfer fit. We're judging this entirely based on design intent, intended player type, and common golfer feedback. And hey, stick around because Jake is going to drop a massive reality check in round 2 that completely exposes a major flaw for average players wanting to buy that newer model. Let's get right into round 1. Starting with the distance and overall performance. Now, on pure distance, neither one of these is trying to be some hot-face distance iron. These are players' irons, plain and simple. They're built for control, hitting specific launch windows, and predictable yardages. But the T100 is really engineered as a modern precision tool. It wants to give you repeatable numbers, not those random jumpers you get out of the rough. If you strike the ball well, the T100 delivers incredibly tight flight control and just better performance through the entire set. Hold on though, Mike. Common feedback suggests the AP2 gives a much better blend of distance and playability. Like, the AP2 was never meant to be the longest iron on the rack, but it gives you that sweet forged cavity feel with some actual built-in help. Let's be real, not everyone hits it dead center every single time. For everyday guys like me who are just trying to get the ball out there without getting heavily punished for missing the sweet spot by a millimeter, the AP2 just feels way less intimidating. Okay, that's fair, Jake, but for pure performance and consistency, the newer engineering definitely takes it. So, round 1, winner goes to the T100, but really only for the golfer who consistently finds a center and wants that tighter distance control. Now, if you need raw help getting the ball out there, you should be looking at a T200 anyway, but do not lock in your choice yet. Jake is up next in round 2, and the forgiveness gap here might actually change your mind completely. Yeah, forgiveness is exactly where average golfers need to pay really close attention, because golf is hard enough, right? The AP2 earned its legendary reputation specifically because it looked like a better player iron, but it didn't punish a 15 handicapper harshly. For a lot of guys, that was the absolute magic. You stand over the ball, you feel like a serious player, but if you happen to hit it slightly off the toe, you still end up on the front edge of the green instead of buried in the bunker. It's just way more comfortable when your swing gets a little loose. You're definitely right about the comfort factor, Jake, but based on design intent, the T100 is highly compact. It simply isn't built for golfers who hit the ball all over the face. If your strike pattern is inconsistent, the T100 is going to expose that immediately. You get amazing feedback when you pure it, sure, but on slight mishits, especially low on the face, the T100 is not going to save you the way a classic cavity back might. You know, feedback is not always friendly.
Exactly. Which is why the round 2 winner is definitively the AP2. It takes the forgiveness crown, especially for mid-handicap golfers who want a player's look, but let's be honest, still need some backup. But hey, don't celebrate yet if you're leaning toward the older model. Mike's about to reveal a massive accuracy gap in round 3 that most golfers completely miss when they're just trying to save a few bucks.
Right, so accuracy and control is where the T100 starts fighting back, and fighting back hard. The T100 allows good players to shape shots and hit very specific launch windows without the club feeling bulky through the turf. It doesn't ever feel like the club is trying to take over your swing, you know? It lets a good player actually work the ball. If you have a sharp, repeatable swing, the T100 gives you absolute command over your trajectory. I'm gonna debate you on that edge, Mike. The AP2 is incredibly accurate in the right hands too. Most golfers report it feels like a perfect blend of help and control. The trade-off is that the AP2 leans slightly more towards surviving sloppy misses. The T100 strictly rewards a sharp, repeatable swing.
Basically, one helps you survive a really bad day and the other rewards you when you are totally dialed in. And that is exactly why the T100 wins this category. Round 3 winner for accuracy and control is the T100, specifically for lower handicappers and strong ball strikers. It's simply the better precision tool. But keep watching, guys, because round 4 is all about feel and confidence. And this is where Jake and I fundamentally disagree on what makes a golf club actually perform out on the course.
Look, feel is totally personal, and I lean heavily into the psychological side of golf. The AP2 has that classic, slightly thicker forged player's cavity profile. When I'm standing over a tricky 165-yard approach shot over water, that slightly thicker top line honestly makes me feel calmer. It gives you a soft, solid strike without feeling super intimidating. It just drips old-school confidence. And most golfers report that seeing that classic shape behind the ball actually frees up their swing.
Yeah, well, I aggressively disagree with that mindset. The direct, crisp feedback of the T100 is far superior for a serious player's confidence. It's clean, it's compact, and it is highly refined. When you look down at address, the T100 has an exceptionally clean profile that tells you exactly what the club is designed to do. You do not want visual bulk when you're trying to pick apart a tight pin location. You want modern precision.
All right, we're calling a tie for round 4. Visual preference is completely personal. Choose the AP2 for classic forged comfort and the T100 for modern compact precision, but do not click away. Coming up in round 5, I'm breaking down the price and value, and there is a specific smart shopper move that most golfers completely miss when they're digging through the used bins. All right, let's talk money. The T100 is the premium modern choice. If you want updated performance, cleaner shaping, and a set you're going to confidently keep in the bag for the next 5 years, you're going to pay current model money. That premium price tag makes sense for buyers who want the absolute latest refinement Titleist has to offer. But there is a smart shopper move you can make if you know exactly where to look.
Exactly, and here is my smart shopper move. Mid-handicappers can get forged Titleist performance without taking out a second mortgage. You do that by hunting for AP2s on the used market. Because there were multiple generations of this club, you can often find them at extremely approachable prices. You get the badge, you get the forged feel, and you get change left over for greens fees.
It's pretty hard to argue with the math on that one. Round 5 winner for value is definitely the AP2. But here's a massive warning before our golfer fit breakdown next. A great price on an AP2 with completely worn out grooves or a terrible shaft fit is still a totally wasted investment. Let's rapid fire exactly who should be playing which club right now across every single handicap category.
Okay, let's assign these fits quickly. Beginners, neither one. Go find a game improvement iron. Mid-handicappers, AP2 for sure. High handicappers, neither. They're both way too demanding for you. Seniors, neither. You probably need launch help, like a T350. Fast swings, the T100 can handle all the speed you have. Slicers, listen, neither one of these is going to magically fix your club path. Distance seekers, neither. These are for hitting specific numbers. Forgiveness seekers, AP2. And budget buyers, definitely the AP2 on the used market.
So the fit winners are crystal clear. AP2 takes it for the average, everyday golfer. T100 takes it for the better player. But right before we give you the final verdict matrix, we need to talk about the single biggest buying mistake that ruins scorecards across the country every single weekend. Here it is. The biggest mistake is copying what low handicappers use. I mean, I almost did that myself. A T100 looks amazing in the hands of a scratch golfer, but that does not mean it fits a 14 handicap who misses low on the face. You have to stop asking which club is better. The insider advice here is to ask yourself, which one gives me better misses? Because your bad shots dictate your score way more than your one perfect flush 7-iron on hole 4. Let's hit a brutally honest pros and cons list right now. AP2 pros, classic feel, strong used value, balanced forgiveness. AP2 cons, older sets often have worn grooves, they're terrible stock shaft fits on the used rack, and they are definitely not beginner friendly. Now T100 pros, modern shape, excellent control, incredibly clean look. T100 cons, very expensive, highly demanding, and it will punish inconsistent ball strikers without mercy. Here is your final verdict matrix. Best overall goes to the T100. Beginners, neither. Mid-handicap, AP2. High handicap, neither. Forgiveness, AP2. Distance, neither. Best value, AP2. No budget limit, T100. Used market, AP2. Seniors, neither. Look, the AP2 is the smarter buy for the everyday guys shopping used. But the T100 is the undeniable winner if your strike is pure and budget just doesn't matter. Now we want to hear from you. Drop your exact handicap and your pick in the comments below. Are you hunting for AP2s or are you swiping the card for the T100s? And Mike, tell them what's coming up.
Well, we have a massive showdown next week between the T100 and the slightly hotter T150. If this explainer helped you stop wasting money on the wrong gear, hit subscribe for more head-to-head golf gear battles. Leave this explainer confident in your gear